What's up, y'all? Today we want to do a video on like tips on how to choose a donor, do's and don'ts on choosing a donor. My number one thing is, well, I wouldn't say number one, but one of the main things I do is to make sure you have a backup donor. Like things come up and something might happen where your donor is not able to make it during your ovulation window. Like you only have a small window to inseminate. And you want to make sure that you always have somebody on deck. Yeah,
because life happens, y'all. Like, something could happen. He can't make it. You know, he might all of a sudden get mandatory called into work. You just never know what could happen. Just always have a backup donor. That way, that's something you don't have to worry about. And make sure you're communicating with both of them. They're both available for that date.
Yeah. Let's see, what's next? Always make sure your donor is free of STDs.
Yes.
Make sure you get their paperwork.
Make sure it's up to date, like at least within like a month, I would say.
Yeah, they also have like at home kits you could use too. But you will have to purchase that. You know what I mean? Like the donor. I mean, like everything that has to do with insemination is normally the responsibility of the recipient because he's doing it for you. You know what I mean? So,
and STD testing can also get done at any free clinic.
Yes.
So the donor can actually just do that on his own if he's willing.
Exactly.
Which most of them do have their STD testing, so it's usually not one thing you have to worry about. And then I would say the next thing that we have would be just be cautious with sending a donor a significant amount of money. Like it's okay, like, you know, $50, but I would say anything over that for us, we personally probably wouldn't send over $50 because at that point, it's a lot of money to lose, you know, in our opinion, unless you're like buku rich, but then...
Yeah, because there is a lot of donors that be scamming out there. They pretend to be donors
just be
to
careful.
Get money. I ain't going to say that there's not some legit donors that will ask for over $50, but we're just saying be careful. Yeah,
I mean, to each his own. Like, if you're comfortable with the donor and you feel like, okay, he's not going to take advantage of me, he's going to be there when I need him to donate, yada, yada, yada. Or let's say, even if, for instance, like, okay, I charge $500 for my donations, and I want half up front. That might be something you could consider if you're in like good communications and you feel comfortable with doing that. But like we said, that's on you. I mean, to each his own. So.
Yeah. Another thing we would say is to ask the donor for references. Like, does he have any other positive pregnancies? Does he have any other recipients that he communicates with? So that you can maybe speak to them and see how their experiences was with him. You know what I mean? To see if there's something that you would want to deal with or if it was all positive experiences, stuff like that. Yeah,
and then ask him if he has any positive pregnancies through sperm donation. You can also ask him that. And then also if he has any children of his own. But for us, I think through sperm donation was more important than them having their own children.
See, ask them if they have any genetic testing to see their background, like their family history, stuff like that. Make sure there's no like mental health, mental illnesses in their family, like disabilities.
And just know though, if you do genetic testing, you will have to pay for that on your own because that's not something that a donor is just going to have on hand.
Yeah, some of them will.
Yeah, some of them, but most likely, I would say 90% of them is not going to have that.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Always FaceTime your donor, get to know him. Make sure like you guys are on the same page. Make sure he's a guy that you would want to have a child back. You know what I mean? Make sure like the looks and personality and just make sure you guys are on the same page.
Yeah, and if they refuse to FaceTime with you, then that's a huge red flag.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, and also you want to make sure it's the person that you're actually speaking to. Like,
exactly. Because
a lot of donors will send you like pictures, or you'll see their profile pictures and stuff like that. And we're referring to like sperm donation through Facebook. Yeah. So that's where, you know, most of us go. That's where we went, anyways. But like if their picture looks different than who they are in FaceTime, that's something you need to know. Yeah. So.
What else? Ask them if they want anything to do with the child.
Yeah.
So you might find a donor and you don't want him to have anything to do with the child, but he might have something else in mind, like where he's looking to co-parent or something like that.
Yeah.
So when you had a baby, he's like wanting everything to do with the child, and you're like, oh no, like I don't want you to have nothing to do with the child. Just make sure you guys are on the same page, like what he wants, like what's his reasoning for doing this. You know what I mean? Much it right there.
Yeah, and then contract. If you have a contract, which I think you should always have a contract, just so everything is straightforward, there's no questions. You know what you want, you know what to expect from him, you both sign it, it's a complete agreement between the two of you, the recipient and the donor, and that way, if anything comes up, they refer to the contract, you know, we wrote this in the contract, yada, yada, yada. You can get it notarized, you can get a lawyer involved, it's completely up to you, 100% up to you, but that will be out of pocket for you as a recipient as well.
Exactly. If a donor group has a scammer section, check it out to make sure you're not communicating with someone that's on that list.
Because sometimes they might not take them out of the group
like right away
by accident, or they might just look. Or it might just be like an overlook or something, but their name might be in there under the scammer list. So just be very cautious with that. Not all groups have a scammer section. Like, we have our own donor group, and ours doesn't have a scammer section. We was just talking about that. Like, we should do one.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we've never been reported that any of our donors in our group are scammers.
Yeah.
So, therefore, that's why we don't have a scammer section.
That's normally where it comes from in a group. Like, normally somebody reports that they got scammed by a donor.
And obviously, if someone says, hey, this person's scamming, we're not just going to go out there. We're going to need to see proof of that to kick them out of the group.
And do some research.
Personally. Yeah, we're going to need, you know, research behind that. So that's typically how that usually happens.
Make sure your donor is persistent with communication.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask him questions and he refuses to answer, or if he's hard to get a hold of, then he might not be the right donor.
Yeah, like any questions, like, you know, like we were saying, for instance, like the family history, anything that you may want as a recipient or may be concerned about as a recipient, and you ask him and he refuses to answer it for whatever reason, then that may or may not be the right donor for you, depending on your preference. Like, is it a question you really need to know and he's not going to answer?
Or if he's hard to get a hold of, like, you constantly try to get a hold of him, and like, you want to be on the same page.
Yeah. So
if he's hard to get a hold of, then is you gonna be able to get a hold of him when it's time for donation time?
Yeah, and speaking of donation time, make sure that your donor, your first donor and your backup donor is available for that ovulation window. Because we only got a certain window. So one may not be available, one may be available. And make sure they're both available, to be honest, like we said earlier, like in case something happens. You know, and I would say don't use both donors in the same cycle, because then you're not going to know who the sperm donor is.
Yeah, and then you don't want two different sperms in, like, you know, in the same cycle, basically.
Yeah. And I would say, as far as like, be careful with donating back-to-back days, because it could mess up your pH, which could mess up you getting pregnant too.
Yeah, when we did it, when we inseminated,
we did it every other day.
Yeah, we did the 4th day before ovulation and the second
2 days before. Yeah.
Yep.
So we skipped a day in between. Plus, you want to give your body a break, give it time to like get going on it. Yeah. I guess.
And also, so the last thing we got down is make sure they are available whenever you're ready to ovulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get ready to ovulate and you're like, oh my God, like he's not available. Then what am I going to do? Because I know there's a lot of recipients, they're like just looking for donors like a couple of days before.
Yeah, try not to do that.
Because like they don't have time to get to know the donor. They're not checking for STDs. Yeah. Just make sure you're on point.
And it's up to you how much you want to get to know your donor. A lot of people take them out to lunch and actually get, you know, one-on-one with them, and like the couple will get one-on-one with him and see like how he is as a person, yada yada. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. Just be careful, make sure it's in a public place. Yeah. You know, because we don't know who these people really are. Yeah. And they don't know who we are either. Exactly. So it's just safe for both recipient and donor. Exactly. You know, there's great donors out here, guys. Really great donors. You just have to wean through all the scams and the, excuse my French, the fuckery of them. Yeah. Yeah. But there really is like a lot of guys out here willing to help us at no cost or a little cost, or, you know, with no communications or anything. They're just happy to make our dreams come true. Exactly. As lesbian couples. So just be careful out there. If you guys have any other questions, we can't think of anything else.
At the moment.
At the moment.
When we do, we'll make sure we do another video on that. But that's pretty much it. Like we said, if y'all have any questions, contact us. Leave a comment down below. Yeah. You know, we're always willing to help everybody. Yep. Have their dream of having a baby. Yeah. But you guys make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Yep. And come back for more content. All right, y'all. We'll see you later, and good luck and baby dust to all you guys. Baby dust. Peace out. Peace out.